Good afternoon, all. We will get started shortly. I hope you are able to, one, see the screen. To my understanding, it's snowing outside, so let's just sit back and look at that screen for a minute. I'm waiting for one more person to come in, and as I said, we will get started shortly. I'm hoping everyone is able to hear me, and if you could just put in your comment box, yes, that you can hear me. I would say put no, but then if you can't hear me, you wouldn't know to do that. Okay. I see that I received several yeses that you can hear me. Greatly appreciate your responses. Just a few housekeeping points. We will have the PowerPoint presentation available to you. We will send it to you via email. And my apologies, if you could hold 1 second, having a few technical concerns. 1 sec. Okay, my apologies, I am back. So, housekeeping. If you have questions, please type them in. You will see, I believe, the box on the right of your screen. If you could type them in there, and we will submit questions and responses with our frequently asked questions and post it on our website. So to get started, introductions and contact information. I know it says on your webinar, Vanessa Rich. That is not my name. I am Lisa Davis, the Supervising Manager for DFSS with the Youth Division. And also we have Julia Talbert, who stepped out at the moment. And Julia Talbot is the one responsible for any administrative questions that you may have regarding the RFP. So once again, you see our emails. So if you have any questions regarding the RFP, you can please send it to me in writing. There are my emails and also Julia Talbert's emails. So let's get started. One Summer Chicago for 2015. First and foremost, this webinar is for the PLUS program. If you have questions regarding SYP or Green Corps, we did have that webinar earlier that will also be posted. But at the end of this webinar, if time allows, we will respond to any questions that you may have. So new to One Summer Chicago, and we are very happy to introduce the new centralized payroll for youth wages. DFSS expects to be working with a third-party payroll manager to provide summer youth payroll services. This means respondents who choose the option of working with this payroll manager will not be required to pay youth wages and administer payroll for youth participants. Nevertheless, respondents must provide approved timesheets to the payroll manager in advance of youth payment being made. For PLUS program, doubling the One Summer Chicago PLUS program, OSC Plus Violence Prevention Program is doubling in size. Yay! The program will offer up to 2,000 opportunities for youth at high risk of violence involvement this summer. In order to serve the increased number of youth throughout this specialized intensive program, we are seeking to double the number of providers trained to deliver this proven violence prevention program. Upgrades to the PLUS program. We are now going to have the new 30-hour civic leadership curriculum for the PLUS, and it's being developed by Civic Leadership Foundation and will be used to develop 21st century skills and employment skills in order to skills in One Summer Plus youth participants. Sorry. The 3 program models for our One Summer Chicago. This program, One Summer Chicago Plus, SYP, also known as Summer Youth Employment Program, and Green Corps. Eligibility. This is a very competitive process, and it is open to all nonprofit organizations. Respondents may apply for multiple programs or for a single program. Respondents submitting multiple proposals must demonstrate the capacity to implement all programs applied for through the RFP. In previous years, we've had organizations apply for all 3 of the programs, and you submit a separate application for each one. So you can either do all 3, 2 of them, or just 1, as long as you can demonstrate the capacity to do that. Very important dates, and you will notice a quick turnaround. The proposals are due March 17th at 5 p.m. I strongly recommend that you do not start your RFP on March 17th at 3 p.m. Please start it now. Be proactive. You will have questions. You do have my email address, and I am very much so willing, and our staff is set to answer all of the questions that you provide us with, but please get them in as soon as possible. Your award notification date, we are looking at March 30th. The anticipated contract start date, May 1st. Just a brief history of the PLUS program. In 2012, DFSS created the One Summer Chicago Plus, which is a specialized summer workforce program for youth at high risk for involvement with violence. The PLUS model provides enrolled youth with summer jobs supported by intensive mentoring and social emotional learning support in order to increase school engagement and reduce violence. Specifically, the PLUS program is designed to provide juvenile justice-involved youth with job training, work experience, social and emotional skill building development, and enhance the financial literacy knowledge and skills. An overview of the PLUS program. As we said, it's a specialized employment program targeting youth who are at risk of violence involvement from pre-identified high schools and youth involved in the juvenile justice system. Up to 2,000 youth will be placed this year and paid for 7 weeks work experience and given additional support according to the treatment group to which they are assigned. Those supports include intensive mentoring and curriculum-based workforce and social emotional skill building. Pending funding, the program may also provide ongoing workforce and educational support for program completers of an additional 38 weeks post-summer to continue to build knowledge and skills in these areas. The anticipated range of the award is from $100,000 to $500,000 for the summer portion only. Additional funding will be made available should the post-summer program receive funding. For PLUS, new for 2015, this year, DFSS and awarded respondents will work closely with CPS, city colleges, and the Chicago Workforce Partnership. We're looking to connect youth to a year-round education or employment opportunities offered at these agencies. We're trying to see the best way for us to hand off the youth from our program in the summer and handing them off to have a continuous support group, whether it's for employment or education. Respondents will work with DFSS and the sister agencies to develop new protocols for referring youth to post-summer opportunities and inviting sister agencies to make presentations to the PLUS participants during the summer program. So for instance, if you're awarded the program, you would have, say, the city colleges to come out and speak to your youth about the opportunities, what the schools have to offer, and how they go about taking advantage of these opportunities. And the same would be for the Workforce Partnership and CPS. Additionally, if funding permits, respondents will be funded to provide basic mentoring support to the PLUS graduates during the 38 weeks following the summer program. DFSS will determine, based on prior performance, which delegates will be invited to participate in this additional opportunity. Major program elements. Term of contract. The term of contracts will run from May 1st to April, I'm sorry, I need to say the year here. May 1st, 2015 to April 30th, 2016. The reason why that contract term is so long, because you're keeping in mind if we have the extended portion of the program. It is anticipated that the program dollars are to be expended for the summer portion between June 1st and September 30th, 2015. DFSS may extend the term of agreement for up to 2 additional periods, each not to exceed 12 months. This extension option is contingent upon successful completion and successful performance of the program and services provided, and of course, if we have the funds. Financial literacy. Financial literacy was always an important component of all of our programs, and this year is no different from the others. We will also provide you with resources, if need be, regarding banking and other financial literacy concerns. So we have workshops that will take place for the PLUS program the first week of the program. Workshops will cover, but are not limited to, banking, direct deposit, savings, taxes, and more. Now notice it says the first week. This is a 7-week program. We need to provide them with that financial information, more importantly for the first week, 1, so that they will have this information when they receive their first check. And 2, the other weeks of the program where we have time for workshops, that is where the Civic Leadership Foundation will have their training. And we'll go further into that in the webinar. Another major element is the academic credit recovery. Youth are strongly encouraged to attend CPS credit recovery classes as appropriate. We will connect you with the resources with CPS regarding the credit recovery. Youth enrolled in Civic Leadership Foundation and the HAQ assessment. Youth will be engaged in a 30-hour curriculum. The CLF, Youth Working for Success curriculum, creates a foundation for academic achievement, maintenance of good physical and mental health, parenting, citizenship, and productive employment. In addition, youth will complete the HAQ assessment. So for those of you that may already be familiar with the Youth Working for Success, the CLF component there, we are taking that component and applying it to the PLUS program. It will have a few changes because the PLUS program 1 is for 7 weeks. And in our Youth Working for Success, the program is for more than 7 weeks. Monitoring youth performance. In addition to the weekly reports through the DFSS reporting system, for those of you that are familiar, our reporting system is CitySpan. Respondents will create a report also for each youth with a detailed written summary of any and all youth meetings and youth progress towards goals. This is new from last year, or I should say the previous years with the PLUS program. This year we are asking that you create a report for each youth. The Common Assessment Tool and Curricula. Agencies will administer employability assessment tools, post-program surveys, and the HAQ for each youth. We will provide you with the resources and the information regarding those tools. Youth preparation and meaningful workplace participation. Respondents must provide an orientation meaningful workshops, and exposure to career paths. So that we're asking you to be extremely mindful as to where you are placing the youth, that you are connecting the youth with places of their interest or as close as possible. And also in the orientation, that should be the time that you will be giving basically a crash course on job readiness. So at least they have some ammunition or skills when they're going out to their worksite. Worksite employer criteria. Employers should be willing to adhere to program guidelines. Basically, whatever your work sites are, please inform them of what the guidelines are for the PLUS program. This program will be evaluated, so we need everything for everyone to basically follow the same process. And of course, the employers definitely need to be able to follow our guidelines and be in agreement to them. The employer should be capable of tracking their time and provide adequate supervision. Youth employment should not impact the current employment contracts, procedures, hiring, firing decisions of the worksite. Please see your RFP for more details in regards to that portion. All of our youth, they must be residents of Chicago. They must have a valid Social Security number and card, which is signed. And all of the youth for the PLUS program and all of our programs, they must complete a One Summer Chicago online application. And just in general, we're asking everyone to inform all of the youth that you know this is for any program that we have. Even if the youth says, well, I will not be here for the summer, I'm going to my grandmother's or vacation, I won't be in Chicago. Ask them, please fill out an application, because if something goes wrong and they don't get that wonderful vacation that they want, and they are here and they want to work, if they do not have an application online, there is nothing I can do. Data collection, reporting, and record keeping. Respondents must maintain individual case files, accurate documentation, worksite information, time and attendance, and a final report. In addition, if respondents are provided the opportunity to work with a third-party payroll manager, approved timesheets need to be provided in advance of any youth payment being made. And as you all know, that if you've done any form of payroll, you definitely need accurate paperwork, and it needs to be entered into the system in advance. So we want to make sure our youth are paid on time, but that also depends on when you put the information in the system if you opt in to centralized payroll. Our PLUS youth, their youth hours and compensation. The participants for PLUS work a total of 20 hours and attend an additional 5 hours of training per week. So I'm going to break that down even further. They are paid for 20 hours of work. The 5 hours that are additional are non-paid. That is when they will receive training, workshops, the CLF workshops, financial literacy, and more. The youth will be paid $8.25 an hour. I received a question regarding in January when the wages, minimum wage goes up, does that mean we are moving up from $8.25? The answer is no. There is a clause in the law that allows for summer employment that we will be waived to pay the $825. I will include that when I send out the frequently asked questions with the PowerPoint, the actual clause, because I'm sure I just chopped it up. But the bottom line is we are waived and we will have the ability to pay the $825 an hour. The youth profile. For the PLUS program, the youth is pre-selected from, the youth come from pre-selected high schools. Youth are also referred to us from Cook County Office of Juvenile Probation. Depending on the space that we have, youth from certain geographic areas will also be included. Youth this year are males and females, ages 16 to 19 years of age. The youth selection process. DFSS will provide a list of potential youth participants to the provider. The provider will locate and engage each referred youth and their parents or guardians. Our next step, after youth have been identified and enrolled, respondents will ensure that each youth complete an intake interview. Once this process has been completed, you will place the participants and assign them to a mentoring group and assign them a mentor and place them in a job. Our mentors for the PLUS program. Now, our mentors for the PLUS program, initially I want to say this is an extremely important person in this program. But I can say the same for our Green Corps program. Mentors for our One Summer Chicago employment are extremely important. So there are certain qualifications you should be looking for when you're thinking of hiring a mentor, keeping in mind that you hire them, we will train them, and you will supervise the mentors. The mentors will be hired and paid 2 weeks prior to the program start time. During those 2 weeks, they will be trained by CLS for the curriculum. Agencies are responsible for costs associated with background checks. All of our mentors must have a fingerprinted background check. The mentors are to be no younger than 24. The mentors are paid up to $20 an hour. Mentors are expected to be available to the youth 24 hours a day. That basically means that they will be providing their phone numbers to the youth. There are times that we will have certain youth, as we've seen in the past, that they need assistance from their mentor. They need the mentor to talk them through something that they're thinking about or talk them out of something. And that could be at any hour of the day. And in the past, our mentors have come to the task and they provided that assistance, and it turned into just a history of the mentors and the youth. It's an unbreakable bond that they create. To the fullest extent practical, we're looking to have the mentors to be residents of the same community as the youth that they serve, and they should speak the same language fluently as the youth and their families that they serve. The CLS curriculum. It's a 30-hour curriculum conducted in groups by all PLUS mentors. It's delivered 5 hours a week for 6 weeks. Remember, the program is 7 weeks. That first week is orientation, where you'll have the financial literacy and providing them with all the information that you need to explain the program to them and their responsibilities to you as an agency. The next 6 weeks, that is where they will receive the CLS curriculum, the workshops. It is mandatory training for all mentors. They'll be provided this training during the 2 weeks prior to the start of the program. And I see here that the next one is training is strongly recommended. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm reading it wrong. Yes, it's mandatory for the mentors, but training is strongly recommended for program managers. This way you have an understanding of what your staff will be going through and what they should be doing. CLF creates a foundation for academic achievement, maintenance of good physical and mental health, parenting, citizenship, and productive employment. Training is broken into 6 unique components, each emphasizing the development of a different but interrelated skill set. The 6 components are personal mindset, planning for success, social awareness, verbal communication, collaboration, and problem solving. These components will be designed for not just their employment time, but just life skills, life lessons that they will learn. The randomized controlled trial evaluation. As some of you know, in 2012, PLUS was created to be an experimental program developed in collaboration with the university researchers. The results of the study, we're proud to say, were recently published in a scientific journal called Science that showed PLUS youth had 43% fewer violent crime arrests than youth that did not participate in the program. And this was even 16 months after the program ended. So with that information, for 2015, PLUS will again be rigorously evaluated by the University of Chicago Crime Lab and the University of Pennsylvania. All PLUS providers must participate in the evaluation and follow the guidelines of the evaluation with respect to the youth allowed to participate in the program and the way the program is implemented. So now that also means the youth selected will be managed by the university researchers and DFSS, because this will be a controlled group. Our performance goals. 100% of youth are placed at work sites. So of course we want all of your youth that are assigned to you and that you accepted and they accepted you. Yes, we want them all placed at work sites. So of course I want 100%. 95% of youth complete the subsidized work experience. 95, that has to do with, we're basically retention. We're going to provide them with the information and skills and support to retain our youth within the 7 weeks. 95% of youth enrolled will attend the 30-hour CLF workshops. That's the workshops they'll receive for the 6 weeks. 100% of the enrolled youth will complete the financial literacy component. That's what they'll receive in the first week. There will be a system that they will have provided for them from DFSS that they could do online. 100% of all eligible youth will be made aware of the credit recovery activities. 90% of youth enrolled in the program will complete the program with attendance rates greater than 80%. 95% of the youth will have an employability assessment completed by their employer at the end of the program. I know in the past we've had certain agencies that feel, oh, they're doing so much, I don't know if they'll be able to do the assessment, meaning the employer. we came to find that if you ask the employer, and once you show them the simplicity of the assessment, which we're also streamlining again this year, they're all normally very happy to complete it because it helps them in the future workers. 100% of all PLUS mentors will attend the CLF mentoring training during the 2-week period prior to the program's June 29th start date. I'm going to stop 1 second because I see a question, and the question is, will grantees be reimbursed for wages paid during the pre-service mentoring training, meaning the 2 weeks? Mentors paid during the pre-service. Your mentors are paid for the 2 weeks before the program starts and they're being trained. The data management system records will accurately reflect student enrollment, activities, and attendance. That data management system that we are referring to is CitySpan. Then we have Fidelity Matrix to track the quality of implementation of the CLF evidence-based curriculum or practice. Tools to be approved in advance of program implementation by DFSS. A recap of the PLUS services. PLUS respondents must complete the following components of the program. Coordinated outreach and recruitment of identified youth. I know you're figuring, well, you're giving us most of the youth. Yes, we are. And you will work with us in terms of, once we provide you with the youth, setting up a system, how the youth will, how you'll do the intake forms. There is, as we said, depending on space, you may have the opportunity that there's a certain percentage that will be able to recruit from a specified area. So that is where you will also play a large role in recruitment and identifying the youth. We're asking you to facilitate the financial literacy curriculum, which the mentors and the program managers will receive training on. And the training won't take long. It's not more than, I think, two hours. Schedule and coordinate workshops with financial institutions and deliver a financial literacy training program such as EverFi. We are working very closely this year with the Treasurer's Department, and they will provide us with a list of banking and financial institutions that can come out and be present during your orientation. Develop appropriate summer jobs for enrolled youth. In addition to the jobs that you will be providing, the work sites that you will be looking for to place your youth, the city will have a few openings for departments that are looking for the summer employment, looking for the youth to be placed at their department. Hire and supervise qualified mentors at least 2 weeks prior to the start of the program. Train mentors on evidence-based mentoring and the CLF curriculum. Training for program managers and mentors will be required and will be offered by DFSS during that 2 weeks. Complete all assessments and administer all survey instruments. Keeping in mind, this is part of an evaluation program. So there will be several assessments. And in regards to the case management, we will have staff from our department going out to assist you and to check, to monitor in the beginning that the case files are being done towards our guidelines and just having it done properly. Promote and accommodate credit recovery offered by CPS. Promote and coordinate any additional support services needed to ensure that youth complete the program. The additional support services that we are referring to, as most of you know that have dealt with youth, you may be dealing with youth for one specific area. Here it's employment. But in knowing the youth, especially with that 24-hour availability, you find out more about the youth than just the employability. They may have concerns for household, not having money to eat, or not having the appropriate attire to go to work, in need of assistance in how to deal with, I don't know, they may have some health concerns. We're hoping that you will have the ability to supply those support services, and if not, you have the ability to know where to reach out to for those support services. And as always, we as DFSS are always here to assist with that. Enter data into DFSS data management system. And you'll notice that we constantly put through this PowerPoint, and it may even be mentioned twice on this one slide, about entering data. It is extremely important that we receive accurate data, especially if you are entering into the centralized payroll. We will be paying the youth, and we will need all of their information on time and accurately, the same as if you were doing it. Track and report daily attendance for each type of activity, whether it's for employment or through the workshops. We need to know their attendance. Payroll. Respondent chooses to pay and administer. Well, let me start that again. If the respondent chooses to pay and administer youth wages and seek reimbursement, you must demonstrate the ability to support payment of youth wages for a minimum of 90 days. I can also put that as far as if you choose not to use our centralized payroll, then we need you to put in your RFP that you have the ability to manage their wages for a minimum of 90 days. All programs will operate on a reimbursement basis, whether you choose centralized payroll or not, because centralized payroll only pays for the youth wages. So I'm going to read through this one. Respondent manages their own payroll, then you should have adequate and available resources to meet program and payroll for all of your staff, because it will be part of the reimbursement process. If the respondent opts for centralized payroll, same thing. You should have adequate and available resources to meet program and payroll for all of your staff, excluding your youth. All respondents must maintain general liability insurance and workers' compensation coverage for all youth employed through the program. I believe in this next slide, here we'll go a little further into it. Respondents may be provided with the option to utilize a third-party payroll manager contracted with the City of Chicago for handling the youth wages. DFSS anticipates this service will be offered as an option for successful respondents in order to alleviate the burden of having to pay for and manage youth payroll and having to wait for reimbursement. We have learned in the past that we've had several excellent agencies that would love to apply for our summer employment program, but they're not able to handle that payroll and wait to be reimbursed for whatever amount of weeks that it takes. which is why we're offering you the option for centralized payroll. Respondents will be responsible for entering the work hours for the youth employees into the payroll manager's payroll system and approving those hours. Just because we are offering centralized payroll, you still, as the agency, have to enter the information into the payroll management system. It is important to note that the youth employees, they are employees of the respective respondent, meaning they are your employees. They are not employees of the City of Chicago or the payroll manager. Therefore, you will assume all employment responsibilities and liabilities for the youth. Oh, sorry. ADA compliance. Respondents must be committed to achieving full physical and programmatic accessibility as defined by ADA. This is something that you need to think of when you are looking for work sites. All of your participants may not be able to have access into all of the buildings, especially if the building is not in ADA compliance. Submission instructions. This section here is for the cyber grants. All of the RFPs are to be responded through the cyber grants system. The RFP document, registration, application, instruction manuals, youth workforce experience program applications, they are all available on this website that you see here. If you are having a concern with getting into cyber grants or anything cyber grant related, please email this person here, Michael Zamale at City of Chicago. That is not to say that do not email me with any cyber grant concerns. You can, if you're having a concern or not able to reach Michael, you can send me an email, and before we're finished, I will put my email address back up. But I will tell you that I'm going to pull in Michael because he is the cyber grants guru. I need you to touch on that. Oh, so now we have time for questions. I have to get very close to the screen because my eyesight is not the way it used to be. And just to let you know, I do have in the very small office with me, Evelyn Benitez. She's been responding to some of your questions.
Hello, everyone.
I see the question, what does it mean to the fullest extent practicable? I'm trying to remember what that is, what slide that was, click on that, referring to. And for some reason, I think it has something to do with performance goals. I'm sorry, for that one, if you could just send me more information on that question, because I'm not quite understanding. So let me pull up another question. The question, will the list of pre-selected high schools be available prior to the RFP submission date? No, it will not. But if you are involved with the high school currently, it would behoove you to mention that you are currently working with X high school. We are pulling for another question. Will the academic credit recovery be part of the 30 hours or be in addition to the 30 hours? That question, honestly, it's something that I will have to research further, because the 30 hours, due to the fact that this is such a rigorous evaluation program, and it isn't a very long program, I have to see how we're going to do that. We are in communication with CPS, and CPS may provide us with the information written down, and then we can forward that to the mentor and the youth, and possibly during those 24 hours they may want to research that part. Question: how many awards are available? In the past, we had, for 1,000 youth, we had 7 to 8 agencies. Now we're looking for 2,000 youth. So I can tell you that we're looking for at least 14 to 18 agencies. Question: is each participant limited to 12 hours per week for a total of $600 for 6 weeks? That is an SYEP definition. For the PLUS program, it's 7 weeks, and the youth are paid for 20 hours. And forgive me, normally I know all of these calculations in my head right off top. I don't know what that totals out to. Question: what is the recommended ratio of mentor to participant? The recommended ratio, Evelyn, is it 2 to 20 or 2 to 10?
I believe it's 2 to 20.
Now, don't quote me on this, but I know there are 2 mentors for each grouping. So whether it's 2 to 10 or 2 to 20, and the reason for that is for having the 2 mentors as opposed to the 1 to 20 ratio. If the program is extended and we are able to provide the funds, we would like to keep at least one of those mentors on to continue with the grouping. So that's the reasoning behind the 2 mentors. Question: how many youth must be served in the program? If you're asking how many youth for PLUS, our goal is 2,000. If you're asking how many youth are we looking for you as an agency to serve as a minimum, honestly, I know we have 100 for SYEP, but as I've said to several of our other inquiries, if you're not able to provide the service for 100, but you come back with, say, 80, and you give justification as to why and how much of a wonderful and great, fantastic job you're going to do with that 80, I'm not going to tell you not to respond. I'm going to say, please respond to the RFP, and you will go through the evaluation process with the rest. Question: when can youth apply online? Well, we're still working on the application date, and it's going to be, oh my goodness, if I'm not mistaken,
It's the first week of April.
in April. We normally put the application out in April. We are hoping to utilize all of the agencies that apply for this application to place posters, whether you're awarded or not, but to help getting the word out to all of our youth. And we'll have other marketing strategies that we will be using.
Commercials, things like that.
Question: what is the hourly rate for the participant? $8.25 an hour. Even with the raise in minimum wage, there's a clause for waiving summer youth employment programs. Question: do you need two budgets, one for 7 weeks and the other for the 38 weeks? Or will there be another submission for the 38 weeks? You will not need two budgets. We will have another submission for the 38 weeks. One second, we're combing through the questions. We answered that one. We answered that. We answered that.
Oh, here you go. 21st century.
Question: can you advise if the pre-selected high schools are spread?
Throughout the city.
If the pre-selected high schools are spread throughout the city, or are there geographic concentrations? The pre-selected high schools, on one hand, I want to say it is spread throughout the city, but the pre-selected high schools are your high schools that are at risk or are in at-risk communities. And at-risk will be their, oh my dear, their reading levels, their attendance.
Be on probation.
If the school is on probation, we go through a process with the crime lab and with DFSS and our policy people here in mapping out, say, your 10 highest at-risk communities. So in that aspect, they are all over the city, but they're in specific areas. I do not think we will have Whitney Young on our list. So schools of that caliber, they will not be part of our pre-selection.
Hold on. Sorry.
We're still here. We answered that one.
I see where you want it.
Or you can open it up.
That's what I was looking for. Chat.
1 second.
Sorry, guys. That's
Okay, we entered the mentor ratio. They have to provide. We entered that one. Question: can we refuse a mentee following the interview if he or she is found to be unfit for employment if we provide justification? In parentheses, we have acute mental illness. That will be something for us to research further. I can tell you that the youth that we receive, say, for instance, from probation, they are put through a process, a selection process, from the probation officer and their team there. So that, with the hope that we would not receive someone of that caliber from probation. Now, as for the other locations where we will be receiving the youth, that is something that we will have to take under consideration and to see what services we can provide for them without eliminating them from the program. But if your agency is not able to provide the services for that youth, then we would have to find other placements for them. Question: the fullest extent practicable was about the mentor being from the same area as the youth. And we don't mandate it that they're from the same area, but as much as possible, it would be very helpful for the youth, for you, and for us to have them come from the same area. If you have, say, 25 mentors, and you tell me that none of them are from the areas in which you're serving, that would be a concern for me.
Can the community urban garden?
Question: can community urban garden projects be identified as worksites? If you can show me, oh dear, I'm looking at the time, I'm sorry. If you can show me how that worksite, the urban garden, deals with employability skills, sure, by all means. I'm looking at the time, and I so appreciate everyone being here on the webinar. I am going to have to cut the, this webinar short. I do see some familiar names up here, so it's great to see the returners, and I see quite a few new ones, and it's great to see new people out there and new interests. We look forward to reading all of your RFPs. Again, remember that we are put with the task this year of serving 24,000 youth through the One Summer Chicago program. Last year, One Summer Chicago served 22,500. Mind you, that is with Park District, CPS, CHA, ASM, Forest Preserve, community colleges. It's not just DFSS. We do this collectively for our youth of the city of Chicago. So again, if you have questions or concerns regarding the application, let me pull you back to, if you click on compliance just for a second. No, the word. Up top, the word ADA compliance?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, guys. You can type now.
Oh, they don't see that?
If you, now I need you to click back on the, for my email address. There we are, sorry. So if you have any questions, please write me via email. You should see my email address on the screen. If you have questions regarding the administrative aspects of the application, contact Julia Talbert. And if you have questions with getting into cyber grants, you will contact Michael Damale. Again, we will forward the PowerPoint to everyone registered, and it will be posted on the website as soon as possible with your questions. Give us possibly till Friday. And I appreciate everyone's time, and have fun writing. Take care, guys.